Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another sports stuff video. Today, we are talking about Nick's picks of the week for week 5 of the 2025 NFL season. So if you guys do enjoy, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. Let's get into the video. So yes, yet again, I missed an upload before Thursday Night Football, and I would have gotten it wrong. I would have picked the Rams, but the 49ers, Mac Jones does pull a win out of his ass. Again, I apologize. It won't happen again. I promise to get videos out sooner. But San Francisco 49ers, I would not have picked to beat the Los Angeles Rams. I would have been wrong. Good job, McCorkle Jones. First off, we got the Texans at the Baltimore Ravens. Not awful. You know, it's a very fun game. We'll see if CJ Stroud can pull some magic out of his butt. They are starting Cooper Rush at quarterback this week. Lots of injuries as well. I'm gonna go to Houston Texans just because of that reason. If you guys have not seen it, I might try and pop it up on the video right now. The injury report for their practice today. It is like every single starter on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. It's bad. The Ravens have the injury bug really bad right now. Cooper Rush played pretty solid last week. I'm not gonna say it was amazing, but it was not obviously amazing. But yeah, CJ Stroud, they win their first game last week. Maybe this can start a little bit of a streak for them, and they can get back into the winning category. They can get back and going towards positive. But I mean, the Baltimore Ravens lose to the Chiefs last week, and they go 1-3. Not just lose to the Chiefs, they get whooped by the Chiefs. So I do worry that when Cooper Rush did come in, that offense didn't look good enough to be starting of a win streak. So we'll see what happens. But I am going to go with the Houston Texans beating the Baltimore Ravens. Next, we have the Las Vegas Raiders at the Indianapolis Colts. I'm going to go with the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts, you know, they're still doing their thing, and they're not as electric as they were the first 2 or 3 weeks, but they're still a very, very good offense. I mean, obviously with Adonai Mitchell, you know, dropping the ball at the 1 yard line and it going on a touchback, that basically lost them the game. But the Indianapolis Colts, they look electric. Jonathan Taylor is still doing his thing. This offensive line still looks really good, even though it's in all these years since, in my opinion, they were at the top of their game. Bernard Raymond looks amazing. Daniel Jones looks amazing. Defensively, this defense is very powerful and attacks the quarterback. And as we know, the Raiders do not have an offensive line to speak of. So I do think that you're going to see like a Kwity Paye, DeForest Buckner masterclass, where, you know, the interior of this offensive lines, they keep getting bull rushed, and Geno Smith won't be able to handle the pressure because he literally can't stand up straight, and Ashton Jeanty can't do his thing, right? Ashton Jeanty has looked good the first month of the year. Obviously, not statistically wise looks good, but if you watch the games, you know Ashton Jeanty is doing everything he can to try and get the ball past the line of scrimmage, and last week it finally worked out. He had a good game. They still lose, but they have a good game. So the Las Vegas Raiders, I do think that it could be a fun game, but I'm going to go with the Indianapolis Colts beating the Raiders pretty handily. Next, we have the New England Patriots at the Buffalo Bills. While I think this could be a very fun game, and the Patriots could pull off a surprise win, I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills. I mean, their offense looks like probably the best right now in the NFL, whether it's running the ball, throwing the ball. Josh Allen is leading in my opinion, the best offense in the league when it comes to actually watching the game and seeing how they play. Defensively, you have guys stepping up, doing their thing. Joey Bosa, while he's not getting the numbers, he looks like he's back to his prime self. Just hopefully, you know, can eventually get that production that matches the film. And for the Patriots, it's week 5 of a new head coach, new offense, where Drake May looks amazing. I think it's very clear to say Drake May looks amazing. Whatever Josh McDaniels has to do to continue to be the offensive coordinator, he needs to do it. Like, it's insane. Josh McDaniels is awful anywhere he goes, except when he's the offensive coordinator for the New England Patriots. Their defense still got a lot of question marks about it, but again, it's week 5 of a new head coach, new everything around them. And also, Terrell Williams is a first-time defensive coordinator who's dealing with health issues right now. If you guys don't know, you can Google it. He's dealing with health issues. He's gonna be away from the team sporadically throughout every week. So I hope he gets better. And for the Patriots, you know, for a team that right now in the year 1 of a rebuild, or I guess I'll say a retooling, you kind of need your coaches there. But with Terrell Williams and his health issues, I worry that this defense is gonna take a little longer than I was expected to get, you know, chugging along on the tracks. But hopefully he can come back healthy and get this team in a better situation where I thought they could be. And I do think the Bills are going to win this game, but I wouldn't be shocked if I see a Patriots upset. Next, we have the Chiefs at the Jacksonville Jaguars. You know, this Jaguars defense has looked really good, but their secondary I still question. And we saw the Chiefs last week take advantage of a questionable secondary in the Baltimore Ravens and throw the ball all over them. So I'm going to go with the Kansas City Chiefs only because I know what they just did last week. You know what I mean? I'm not saying this as like, oh, we've seen all season the Chiefs be electric. No, they're coming off a game where it's a better defense. In my opinion, I do think the Ravens have a better defensive personnel than the Jaguars, but the Jaguars' scheme and how they're playing is better than the Ravens. But again, the Chiefs, I do think they're going to win this game. I think yet again this could be a Jacksonville at-home win against the Chiefs. And what would they be? They would be 4-1. Oh my gosh, man. Jags at 4-1 is a crazy thought. But I mean, their offense, while it's not clicking with all the wide receivers, their defense is keeping them in a lot of games. Travis Etienne is doing his thing. Bashaw Tutin as well is doing his thing. The offensive line looks okay, but Trevor Lawrence and his receiving core need to get it clicking and get it clicking now. You are 3-1 with a chance to go 4-1 on Monday against a very good Chiefs team. They have to start getting it clicking. But the Chiefs, I think they are going to take advantage of a Jaguars offense that isn't really clicking, and Steve Spagnuolo is going to do whatever he wants to that offense. Next, we have the Minnesota Vikings in London with the Cleveland Browns. I'm going to go with the Browns. Listen, I know you're going to say I'm a homer, but I've been picking against the Browns all season. I think this is a very clear win for the Cleveland Browns. Not only is JJ McCarthy still not playing, but neither is their left guard, their center, or their right guard, or their right tackle. That is 4 of 5 their starting offensive linemen not starting against probably the best defensive line in football, with Myles Garrett, Mason Graham, Shelby Harris, slash Mike Hall, slash Aiden Huntington, with Isaiah McGuire and Alex Wright pass rushing on the opposite side of Myles Garrett. This is, in my opinion, the best defensive line in football, and Myles Garrett is on a hummer this year, and I think this offensive line is about to get used and abused. If Carson Wentz is not doing quick checkdowns to Justin Jefferson, they're not getting a yard in this game. Their run game is not getting a yard in this game. I think the Browns, if Dylan Gabriel can just not turn the ball over and just, get a couple of field goal scoring drives, maybe a rushing touchdown drive, they're going to win this game like 17-8 or 17-7. Like very low scoring game where the Browns just murder the Vikings offense, and the Vikings defense with Brian Flores hinder Dylan Gabriel from doing what he needs to do, but they get enough scoring where they win the game. That's my prediction. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. What you think about that Browns game. I do think the Browns do win this game though. And again, 2-3. I said at the beginning of the season, if the Browns in the first 6 weeks, which are statistically the hardest first 6 weeks in the NFL, if they can go 2-4, that is a successful month and a half of the season where the Browns could be like, you know what, we're 2-4. We have a really easy second half of the schedule, or I guess second 3 quarters of the schedule, and we feel better about our team now. So I trust the Browns to beat the Vikings, get to 2-3, and then next week go into the Steelers, who are on bye right now. Then we have the Cowboys at the New York Jets. This is going to be a very fun game. I'm going to go with the Dallas Cowboys, however. The Jets, they're very up and down. Justin Fields had 2 of 3 really good weeks, in my opinion. I think week 3, or was it week 3 or week 4, that he was out and Tyrod Taylor started. Was obviously god-awful, obviously. But when he came back, Justin Fields looked pretty good. In week 1, Justin Fields obviously looked really good. Had a really bad week 2. But I think this Jets offense is kind of, getting along with all the humps and bumps of a new quarterback and a new offensive coordinator in Tanner Eggstrand. And their defense, while it's not elite, their front 7 is doing their thing. Their back 4, obviously their corners and their safeties, need to get better, need to improve. But their front 7 is containing the run. They're doing a good job getting pressure. The issue is that their secondary can't hold anyone. And Dak Prescott loves to throw the ball. You're going to see George Pickens getting probably 100 yards, a touchdown or 2. You're going to see Jalen Tolbert and Jake Ferguson getting 60 to 80 yards and maybe a touchdown. It's not that the Jets defense is bad. It's that their secondary is piss poor. And again, the offense for the Jets, it's been up and down all year so far. Hopefully they can start clicking. And I do think Justin Fields is a great quarterback for this scheme that Tanner Eggstrand is doing. But I do worry about the consistency of Justin Fields right now. I need to see like 3 or 4 games in a row of solid to good play from Justin Fields before I start picking the Jets to win these type of matchups, where obviously the Cowboys passing game is going to demolish the Jets passing defense. Next, we have the Broncos at the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm going to pick the Eagles. Again, with the Broncos, I like their defense, but for some reason, Vance Joseph and this defense are not clicking. You signed Talanoa Hufanga, you signed Dre Greenlaw, you draft Jahdae Barron, you have a really solid defensive line already. Why is this defense not top 3 in the league? What is going on? You have the reigning DPOY, in my opinion, the #1 corner in this last year's drafts. You have a great safety in Talanoa Hufanga. You have a really good linebacker core with Alex Singleton and Dre Greenlaw. And your defensive line has not changed much. Nick Benito is still there. Your D tackles are still there. Why are you not getting pressure on the quarterback? Why can you not stop the run? What is going on in the defense that needs to change? That needs to change to get these teams back and clicking. The offense, they've had ups and downs. Bo Nix has had good halves. He's had bad halves. The issue is that when you face the Eagles, you need to have 4 good quarters from your offense and your defense, because the Eagles, no matter what, are going to run the ball, and when they need to, they'll throw the ball, and no matter what, they're going to get their yardage, they're going to get in field goal range, and Jake Elliott is going to kick the ball at minimum getting 3 points every drive. And that's not talking about when they get their touchdowns from the run game, from the tush push, from the quick slants out to A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. This offense, no matter what, is going to get points every drive. And defensively, while, again, I do think they've taken a step back from last year, I think they got to get back in the groove of what they were at the second half of last year. I think this defense can any minute get back in the motion and become a top 3 defense. So this is 2 defenses that I think can be top 3 going against each other, but the offense of the Broncos is too up and down, while the Eagles offense is consistent. I think that's going to be the difference in this game. Next, we have the Dolphins at the Carolina Panthers. I'll be intrigued to see what Mike McDaniel does on offense. With Tyreek Hill, there's a lot of times you have to kind of force the ball to Tyreek so he doesn't complain, on Mondays during the interviews or after game in the locker room. So I think without Tyreek Hill and not having to force the ball to him, I'm intrigued to see what Mike McDaniel offense of just like, Jalen Waddle, Devon Achane, Ollie Gordon, Tua, and this okay offensive line, what can they do on offense? Is it going to be electric? Probably not. Probably not going to be electric. Probably going to be a at most 14 to 20 points a game offense, and their defense is not good enough to stop anyone. Lucky enough, you're going up against the Carolina Panthers, their consistency is known to be inconsistent. This is a team who every single week is either, scoring 2 or 3 touchdowns a game, or scoring nothing and not even getting past the half line mark. I don't know what Carolina Panthers team is showing up tomorrow. I do know what Miami Dolphins offense and defense are showing up on Sunday. I don't know what Carolina Panthers team is playing Sunday. Is it going to be the one who shut up the Falcons? Or is it going to be the one who could not score this last week and could not stop the run? Which Carolina Panthers team am I getting? In my opinion, Ed Rovero has really taken a giant step back as a defensive coordinator. When he gets fired at the end of this season, he needs to go somewhere that has a good defensive coordinator and relearn what he's doing. Because Ed Rovero 2-3 years ago was a head coaching candidate because of how good that Broncos defense was. And for whatever reason, he has taken a massive step back. And that defense is not stopping anything. They can't stop a nosebleed. And their offense with Bryce Young is known to be inconsistent. They are forcing their fans to quit podcasting about the team. The Dolphins, however, we know what Anthony Weaver on defense is going to do. We know what Mike McDaniel on offense wants to do. Now he doesn't have to force feed the ball to Tyreek. He can just run the ball 30 times a game and throw 15 slants to Jalen Waddle, a couple jump balls to Darren Waller. Now he can do what he really wants. So I'm intrigued to see what this Mike McDaniel offense without a diva wide receiver is going to look like, and I know what their defense is going to be. So I'm going to go with the Miami Dolphins because I feel right now they are more consistent than the Carolina Panthers. I don't know what Panthers team is showing up Sunday. Next, we have the Titans at the Arizona Cardinals. I'm going to go with the Arizona Cardinals. Not only are they coming off of a long bye, but the Titans suck. They suck. They're bad. In the words of Cam Ward, we ass. They are not a good team. I fully believe we are going to see Brian Callahan get fired. Will he last a full season? We'll see. If they go let's just say, they're 0-4 right now. They're 0-4 right now. If they end up going 0-7, 0-8, he's gone. But if they end up going 3-5, 2-6, I think he could last the whole season. But the Tennessee Titans, they look poorly coached. They can't run the ball, and Cam Ward can't stay upright because his offensive line is not doing anything. On the defensive side of the ball, they have pieces that I like, but again, what are they doing on defense? They have no identity. Are you going to be a defense who gets after the run? Are you going to be a defense who gets after the quarterback? Right now, I think Jeffrey Simmons is known, obviously, as one of the best D tackles in the league, but I don't know what their identity is on defense. On offense, it's very clearly Cam Ward throwing the ball. But what are they on defense? They're not known for stopping the run, they're not known for stopping the pass, and they're not known for 3 and outs. What are they doing? Nothing. They're getting beaten. That's what's happening. I just don't see the Arizona Cardinals coming off a embarrassing loss like last week. I don't see the Cardinals coming back at it and not winning this game against the Tennessee Titans. Again, they're also a really bad team. If the Cardinals lose this game, I'm out on the Arizona Cardinals this year. You guys know I was very big on the Cardinals this year. I think they could easily make the playoffs this year. And if they lose to the Titans in week 5, I might be out because that is embarrassing. That is downright like Kyler Murray. What are you doing? Are you the quarterback for any team next year? Next, we have the Commanders at the Los Angeles Chargers. Obviously, the Commanders had an embarrassing loss last week against the New York Giants. However, it was against Jackson Dart, who they've never had film on. They had no idea what type of offense they were going to run with Jackson Dart. They know what kind of offense Jayden Daniels is in. They know it's like Cliff Kingsbury, love screening, love screens, love slants, a couple of jump balls with Terry McLaurin, and running the ball. That's their offense. An okay offensive line. This defense with Jesse Minter has been able to get after the quarterback no matter what it feels like. Their personnel is not even all that great, and they're still doing a really good job at getting to the quarterback with pressures. So I am going to pick the LA Chargers. I think, again, with less talent, they're doing a very good job. I think they're like a top 5 defense right now. Again, right now, that's subject to change after every single game. As of recording, they're like a top 5, top 6 defense, and that's without Khalil Mack. That's without multiple weeks of all the new guys coming together and kind of like gelling better. So I think every week this defense is going to get better. They have Jesse Minter, who I think is right now one of the best defensive coordinators in football. I think he's going to be a head coach next year. And they're going up against Jayden Daniels, who struggled this year so far. I don't think Deebo Samuel was the right wide receiver for them to invest in. I think they should have easily gone after another wide receiver, because Deebo Samuel is not the same guy as he was a couple of years ago. And the way they're using him in Washington is like they're using 2020 Deebo, and 2025 Deebo is not him. He's not him. It's just, that's what it is. And outside of that, their offense is old, they're slow, and Bill, obviously Bill's a good running back, but I'm going to go with the LA Chargers. I know what we're getting out of their offense, and I know what their defense can achieve. Next, we have the Lions at the Bengals. I'm going to go with the Detroit Lions. I think the Bengals are going to get absolutely gobsmacked. This could be like a 30-point blowout. This might be a shutout. Like, this might be a shutout warning. This Lions defense, who is very turnover heavy, that loves to get turnovers, loves to attack the ball, loves to try and punch the ball out, loves to give up big plays to try and get interceptions. This is a turnover machine on their defense with Jake Browning, who has looked awful so far this year. And offensively, the Lions are going to run all over the Bengals. I don't think it's going to be a great passing attack. I do rate the Bengals secondary more than most people do. I think it's actually a pretty solid secondary, but their front seven is awful. Trey Hendrickson is not sacking Jared Goff, and their interior, the defensive line, is not stopping Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. This could be a 30-point shutout, and I'm not shocked if that's what's going to happen. We might see backups come in the full fourth quarter. That's how bad the Lions are going to beat them. Next, we have the Giants at the New Orleans Saints. I'm going to go to the New York Giants. Is it mean to the Saints? Yes. Did the Saints do it to themselves? Absolutely. I do think the Giants with Jackson Dart, they looked interesting last week. I would like to see him throw the ball a little bit more. Obviously there's a lot of those RPO plays where he just took the ball and he ran with it. But I do want to see more of a passing offense out of Jackson Dart. And again, it was his first start at week 4 as a rookie. So I'm not going to judge him too hard. I do think Brian Daboll is saving his job right now. And I think no matter what, he's going to do everything he can to keep his job. And the Saints, they're in year 1 of an unknown rebuild. They don't know they're rebuilding. But you're about to see a lot of Saints players get sold off after this game. You can see an Alvin Kamara trade. You can see a Cam Jordan trade. You can see a Cesar Ruiz trade, a Chris Olave trade, a Juwan Johnson trade, a Justin Reed trade, a DeMario Davis. I think we're going to see a crazy trade from week 5 to week 9 of when the trade deadline ends of the New Orleans Saints shopping their guys. Doesn't mean they're going to trade them, but they're going to be shopping a lot of their guys. And to me, I think this is the week it's going to start. Once you lose to the New York Giants and Jackson Dart week 2, after this team was, 0-3, and was about to fire Brian Daboll after the rust start, I just don't see how they keep all their veterans that have draft capital, like, they can get draft capital for, staying on the team past week 5. So we're going to see what happens. I don't think the Saints are going to win this. I don't think this offensive line is good enough to protect from Abdul Carter, Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns. Like, there's no way this defensive line can stop them. This offensive line can stop them. And when it comes to the offensive side of the ball, the Saints defense is old, slow, and their secondary is not good at stopping the pass. That's just what it is right now. Kool-Aid McKinstry is not a number 1 corner. He's a number 2 corner, and he's playing number 1 because you let Paulson and Debo walk. Like, this defense is not ready for this Giants offense. I do think with Jackson Dart, if they do lean in more into that passing offense, he can throw for 250 yards on Sunday. Easily. Maybe an interception, but he's going to throw the ball a lot if that's the way they want to go, and it might be pretty accurate. So I'm going to go with the New York Giants winning. Next, we have the Buccaneers at the Seattle Seahawks for Sunday. I believe This is Sunday Night Football, if I'm not mistaken. But Buccaneers at Seattle. I'm going to go to Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You know, obviously they lost in last week to the Eagles, and it was an embarrassing loss. I think Baker Mayfield, if I'm not mistaken, threw a game-sealing interception to where the Eagles won the game because of the interception. If I'm not mistaken, I think that's what happened. But the Buccaneers, they're pissed. They were 3-0. Wait, they were 3-0 going into that game last week with 3 game-winning drives in a row, and they lost to the Eagles because they couldn't win that game-winning drive. Now they're playing the Seattle Seahawks, so I think the exact same thing's going to happen. I see the Tampa Bay Buccaneers having to do a game-winning drive because for whatever reason they timed the game really well to where they always have the ball at the very end of the game. And the Seahawks, they're not a team that you should scoff at, right? Clint Kubiak and his offense is humming with Sam Darnold. Mike McDonald and his defense are doing their thing. I think it's a very good Seahawks team, a lot better than I ever expected. But again, I am going to go with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because I think Baker Mayfield and this offense are more powerful than the Seahawks secondary because their corners and for the Seahawks, god-awful. They have Josh Jobe and Shaq Griffin starting that corner because everyone is injured. So I'm going to go with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Emeka Egbuka easily to get over 100 yards, probably going to get a touchdown. I just don't see a world where the Buccaneers don't throw for like 350 yards and multiple passing touchdowns against this poor secondary for the Seahawks. But again, I could be wrong. I think the Seahawks are a very good team. This is a very fun matchup. If you want to watch this game, this is a game that you want to watch. I think the offenses are similar, but I do think the Seahawks defensive scheming is better, but the Buccaneers have better personnel. So, very fun game to watch. A lot of good games to watch, man. This Houston Ravens game is good. The Patriots Jags game is going to be good. Any other ones? Oh, Cowboys Jets will be a lot of fun. Where is it? And then I think Buccaneers Seahawks is probably going to be the game of the week, though. I really think this is going to be the game of the week. I think they're very similar where they are in their franchises right now. I would be very shocked if this is a bad game right here. So yeah, that is my prediction for week 5 of the NFL season. Nick's picks of the week. So if you guys enjoy, please do like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know in the comments down below what you would change different, who you think is going to win, who you think is going to lose. And yeah, let me know. And I'll see you guys later. Peace and bye.